Hello,
Hello.
and welcome back to the second episode of Dead Curious.
Yay! You like it? You really like this.
If you have returned, then welcome back.
If this is your
I'm glad you're interested enough.
and if this is your first time, we are your sister hosts. My name is Roxanne,
And I'm Jessica.
and today we will be sharing two stories with you. Um, I think it's my turn to go first, isn't it?
Yes, I went first last week, so you can start for us.
Yay! Okay, so for everyone who is new, every week, Jess and I each pick out a story, and we tell it to each other, and we comment, and you listen.
Yes. And for the first season, we are staying with South African stories.
Yeah.
And for this week, we chose to talk about haunted places.
Was that a decision
So
we made?
it was, yes.
Oh, okay. I think it's more of a happy accident on my side. I don't remember this conversation, but mine is a haunted place. Um, and I'm very excited to get into it. Shall I get into it?
Yes, please do.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I was born ready.
I don't think you that's pushing it a bit far. Just tone it down, just tone it down. Bring it in. Okay.
I've been waiting for like an hour. Okay.
An hour.
Just start.
All right. So the story I chose today caught my eye because I seem to have a bit of a talent for finding these types of stories. It's got a little bit of true crime in it, as well as ghost stuff. Although last week I focused a bit more on the true crime side, so this side is a little bit more ghosty. Now, I have actually announced what my story for today is, but Jess, you have been staying away from our social media accounts to not give away the surprise.
Yes. But I will admit I did accidentally see it
Did
yesterday.
you? Okay, well,
I was on Instagram going through the stories, and then before I stopped, it kind of just popped up, and I was like, oh man.
okay,
But
well,
yeah.
the surprise might be ruined for you, but maybe someone out there didn't know. Although actually the title's in the title of the episode, so they would know. Okay, never mind. So the story I chose to do is the Kempton Park Hospital. So before I go into the haunting of the hospital, I just wanted to give a little bit of background because it is just as, if not creepier, than the haunting itself. So, the Kempton Park Hospital was opened in Johannesburg 1978 and was a 7-story, 350-bed state-of-the-art medical facility, as well as the biggest in the region. However, on Boxing Day 1996, patients and staff left the premises and the hospital was simply abandoned without any explanation. So till this day, the hallways are crowded with unoccupied hospital beds, operating tables, incubators, filing cabinets, and even computers, as 10 million rand worth of medical equipment and thousands of confidential patient files were simply just left behind. And this is where you
Hmm. I'm trying to just like process. That's very bizarre.
Yeah.
That's quite strange.
And also, you'll notice that this was in 96. So it's not that long ago. Which is kind of interesting because I did go into the records and stuff. Like, I've been trying to find anything out there that explains, like from government, because this was a government hospital. So I've tried to find anything that could explain why it was abandoned. And I say abandoned because who leaves 10 million rand worth of medical equipment behind? Like, if it was shut down, surely they would have taken the stuff.
Right, and like given it to, I don't know, donated it to another hospital
Well,
or
that's the
something
thing.
instead of just.
So this is what I found.
Huh.
In 2014, The Gauteng Health MEC, Edani Mahlangu, claimed that the hospital was underutilized, and that was the reason for it being shut down. She said, and I quote, "You will be aware that there was a time when we had an oversupply of health facilities for one reason or the other. That's when the facility was closed down." But I call BS. According to a pediatrician who once worked at the hospital for 16 years, when the hospital was closed down, all the equipment was still in perfect working condition. While it's been reported that in surrounding rural areas, babies had to be cared for in cardboard boxes due to lack of incubators. And not to mention, nearby Tembisa and Evendale Hospital have been complaining of struggling with the high inflow of patients since before the Kempton Park Hospital was shut down. So this is BS, BS, and more BS. Something smells fishy, and it's not the jar of kidneys on the floor. That's not even a joke. That's not even a joke. Like, I read up, like, one of the articles, the reporter and the crew, the reporting crew went through the hospital. There are still jars of organs in this place. Jess, they left everything behind. They took
That's disgusting.
nothing. They took nothing with them. And the government is claiming that it's shut down. That's not shut down. That's outright abandonment.
And it doesn't make sense that, that it was underutilized or anything, because again, like we said earlier, they would have sold or donated the equipment to a hospital that is in need.
There were reports that they said they shut it down because it was underutilized. But then would it not be cheaper to halve your staff and patient intake than it would be to just leave 10 million rands worth of equipment?
Definitely.
And surrounding hospitals, or at least the clinics, could have benefited that. They could have shuffled. I mean, this is government equipment, government-owned equipment. They could have given it out. Like, they could have repurposed it or moved it. Nothing was moved. Nothing was moved out of the premises. Like, they didn't hire anyone to come in and clean up. The operating tables there, Jess, still have blood on them. So they operations and stuff, they didn't even clean up after themselves. They're just up and left. They stopped taking, in the articles that I read, they'd stopped taking in patients a couple weeks before closing, but they never announced why they weren't taking patients in. They just stopped taking patients in, and then after Christmas, they all left. So
that's so strange.
It is so strange. And the fact that the staff left everything behind seems to suggest that they were in a hurry to leave, or that maybe something else was going on. Conspiracy theories of note. Like, what could have happened? Like, none of the reasons that the government is giving makes any sense, because they didn't save money. They can't possibly, like, they couldn't possibly have been unutilized to the point that they couldn't use it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, today the building stands dilapidated, with operating table is bloodied from the day that they were abandoned. And it's now a notorious hotspot for paranormal activity. Over the years, people who have explored the hospital have claimed to experience some of the following: sudden drops in temperature, doors slamming, things falling in rooms when no one's in them, reflections of shadowy figures in windows and mirrors, which creeps me the F out. I don't even look in the mirror if I go to the toilet at 2 o'clock in the morning, because I'm afraid that, like, reflection does something different than what I'm doing.
I used to, we had one of those bathroom mirrors that have a door, that door that opens and then you
on the cabinet
get, I don't know, your toothpaste. Yeah, cabinet, whatever. So I used to, when I brushed my teeth or did anything in the bathroom, I used to open the cabinet door so that the mirror is facing the shower and not my face.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it's because of the horror movies, I would be terrified that once I finish brushing my teeth and I rinse out my mouth, I'll look back up and there'll be something behind me. or like my reflection will be doing something weird. And I used to cover all my mirrors when I go to bed.
Oh,
but I don't care anymore.
I hate it when I have to go to a hotel, or if when I used to house sit, when I would house sit and people had these big mirrors facing the bed. I don't want anything reflecting on me while I sleep. It's just a thing. I don't know. But
I was watching Ghost Stories last night, and I'll tell you about that at the end of our episode today.
Okay, cool.
But just remind me about the mirror.
Okay, I will. Right, so sudden drops in temperature, doors slamming, things falling, reflections of shadowy figures, disembodied voices, and probably the most disturbing, babies crying.
Oh,
and it's not like one baby. Apparently, it's like when you walk the halls, it's like you can hear as if it's like one of those baby, when you deliver a baby, they go to the room with all the babies in it. Sorry, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
And then like you can actually hear like a bunch of babies crying, and then it just sort of stops.
That's so gross.
Yeah. So looking into, obviously it's a hospital, and I believe to some degree every hospital is a little haunted.
Mm-hmm.
So looking up as to possible reasons of why the haunting at this hospital is as intense as what it is, I stumbled across the story of Andre Esterhazen. So Andre, or known as Dr. Andre Esterhazen, was a high school dropout who posed as a pediatrician at the Kempton Park Hospital for years. And he was said to have treated as many as 4,500 patients with no formal training or qualification, many of which were babies who died under his care. The story. So the stories of his victims I'm not going to go into, as it is quite upsetting, and I know that the social worker side of you is going to be triggered.
I'll calm myself down.
Okay, but some of the sad stories which came out from the patients in the trial against him included things like collapsing a baby's lungs while he was trying to insert a drip because he couldn't find the vein. He overdosed an infant on suppositories. Multiple accounts of brain damage due to treatment. A 4-month-old girl ended up with cerebral palsy after he did 4 lumbar punches on her. She was 4 months old. Obviously, there was a couple of deaths, and there's a bunch of other things. But it was really sad, and I didn't want to. I feel like could be an episode on its own.
Yeah, and that's quite heavy.
Yeah, that's quite a downer. Anyway. But thankfully, in 1992, he was eventually convicted after a really brave mother came forward after the passing of her daughter, and he was found guilty of 3 counts of culpable homicide, defrauding patients, and impersonating a doctor, for which he sadly only received 18 years imprisonment. So that dick could be walking around today.
That's upsetting.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy about that. You're right, my social worker biz is getting
triggered.
Triggered, did it.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
But it does sort of make sense that maybe that's why it's haunted by babies in particular. Like why you hear babies crying. I mean, he was only found guilty of 3 counts, and there are so many malpractice things that happened. Just going through Facebook, I saw some of the parents, and this is like recent, like over the last 3 years. There's parents who are testifying and telling their stories. Like this one woman, her daughter's now in her 20s, and she's sort of half deaf because of, and she was treated by this doctor, and she said that as a parent it sucked because she kept on bringing in her daughter going, something's wrong, my daughter's sick, and he would turn around and actually like almost verbally abuse the parents and tell them that they are terrible parents and that it's their fault.
Wow.
And that it's their fault that their kid has brain damage or hearing, like it's It's really awful. This guy sounds like a real piece of work, and it was so sad looking into this stuff because, like, oh, and these people are still alive today. The people that suffered under him are still alive today. There's so many kids that were sent to these homes for the special needs homes because of brain damage and stuff because of him. He was, and if he's still alive is. I'm trying to keep this a clean show, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, we did warn people that our language is less than kid-friendly at most times.
Oh my word. I'll tell you later. I was trying to do some spoonerism stuff, but I realized that duck that I'll tell you later. There's no way of me saying this without swearing by accident.
That duck.
I'll explain to you later. Anyway, there was almost a lot of swearing.
All right.
Okay, anyway. So, yeah, so it's a hotspot for paranormal activities and quite a lot of baby cries. But there's also other things that have been going on. And a group called Triangle Paranormal Investigators went to investigate Kempton Park Hospital to see whether or not they could find something. And they did. So, in the theater room, they picked up an EVP of a woman screaming, which no one heard at the time. They only picked it up when reviewing the video. And here it is.
Okay, that scream, I can definitely hear. That is terrifying.
And this is that same video audio enhanced. Then, while traveling through the hallways, they caught a creepy whistling of a melody none of the investigators recognized. Just excuse the language in this one. And then this is the enhanced version. One of the investigators said that he felt a presence following them, so he filmed behind them as they were traveling through the hospital. The video camera started to malfunction and caused the video to invert its color, and there were like glitches, like lines and glitches.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Yeah, but it could be explained. However, when they took still images on another camera, the same glitch appeared in the still photographs.
Okay.
Some of those photos had shadowy figures in the background, and in others were orbs. Now, I know what you're gonna say. Orbs.
Okay. Yeah.
When these guys say orbs, they don't mean those little speckies of dust that everyone goes, it's an orb. It's not an orb. Orbs don't interest me. They don't convince me. When people bring up orbs, I just go, okay, whatever. But these orbs, they're actual like blotches of light in their photographs, and it's not like a blowout. It's not that it loses detail or quality. It's like it's in the photo. It's like it looks like somebody blew almost like someone blew a torch in somewhere in the room, but it's not where the flash is going off. It's quite weird. It looks almost like there was a fire that was quickly put out before the flash went off. I don't know how to explain it. And it's in different places in the room. It's like in the one room, it's like there's one place where it's like whatever is causing it. They took a couple of photos. It's in the same place, but it's changing shape. So when they say orbs, I'm a little bit more interested in the evidence that they're showing me, because it's not the typical, look, it's flying upwards and dust doesn't fly upwards unless, of course, there's an upward breeze, unless, of course, you've moved your foot, unless, of course, it's warm and it catches an upward breeze, unless, of course, you hold the camera upside down, unless, of course...
Yeah.
Don't
The
come
list could go on.
to me with orb theories. I don't have time for that.
Unless you have like a solid ball of light the size of a bowling ball in front of someone's face that would not otherwise be seen, then it's not an orb, and just leave me alone.
Well, yeah. So they caught photos of orbs, shadow fingers. Oh my word, shadow fingers. Sounds like really dirty dessert.
It made me think of salad fingers.
Oh, that is creepy. That is creepy. Internet, do yourself a favor. If you really want to feel anxious, go look up salad fingers if you haven't already.
Yeah. Just the music on its own is okay, yeah.
You taste like freaking poo.
What was that doll's name? Anyway. Jeremy Fisher.
Ugh. To this day, the Kempton Park Hospital stands in limbo, decaying, as plans on the future of the hospital are as unclear as the day it was abandoned, with nothing but ghosts to keep it company.
Oh.
So there are some people believe that the whole thing with Esther Hazen actually might have contributed to it closing, but it's not like hospitals don't get sued all the time. So, and also he was found guilty, I think it was like 4 years before the hospital was abandoned. So although there is a theory there, it's not a very strong one. So what creeps me out is, why would a hospital just close? I'm really getting like the fact that everything was abandoned really makes me feel strongly that they were leaving in a hurry. And it creeps me out thinking, what could they be in such a hurry from? You don't just abandon stuff there. I feel like it's a possible cover-up, and there's nothing I can find to give any solid evidence to that, or I don't know, but it's the only logical thing. And I'm not a conspiracy nut. I'm not. But what are they hiding?
Said every conspiracy nut. No, it's definitely really weird. I mean, I get how, I forgot what that's meant. I forgot his name.
Esther Hazen.
I can see how people would think that Esther Hazen and his whatever he was doing would contribute to that. But at the same time, it's like you said, things like that happen, unfortunately, all the time. And that doesn't, you don't just get up and leave. You don't just abandon everything because
they left
someone lied on their CV. Exactly.
Yeah, and also one lawsuit. In fact, in the research that I did, no one actually held the hospital accountable. They didn't sue the hospital, they sued him, which was quite surprising because he never forged documents, he never forged qualifications. He dropped out of, why he's so interested in is he's actually considered mentally gifted. He dropped out of high school when he was 10. He's got an incredibly high IQ. He dropped out of high school when he was in grade 10, and he just studied medical books and opened up his own practice. And because he had his own practice, people just assumed he just kind of opened up a practice. They go, "Oh, what do you do?" And he goes, "Oh, I own a practice. I'm a doctor. Like, well, I treat people, whatever." So because he had his own practice for like a couple of years, the hospital just sort of went, "Oh, are you a doctor? You want to come work for us?" And he's like, "Sure, whatever." So, so there was, and the funniest thing was, he only got 18 years, and the hospital could have been sued because all the patient files are still there, if you remember. They've been abandoned. So it's not like you can't access those files. In fact, people who were born in the hospital have actually it's pretty well known that you can pay the security guards off to tour the place. Like, you bribe them, they'll let you in.
Wow.
It's kind of an accepted thing.
Should we do that?
Oh,
Let's do
absolutely.
that.
Road trip. We'll road trip. So yeah, I did read. There was so much information, but I didn't want to do what I did in the last episode, which was cover everything. Everything. I wanted to
Mm.
focus on the hauntings. And I was quite pleased that I was able to find some audio footage to share.
Yeah, that's great. I like that.
The Triangle Paranormal investigators, those guys,
Hmm.
they actually uploaded a video to YouTube. And it's the best
Ah,
it's the best coverage I could find of the hauntings there. Everything else was pretty much it was just kids on Instagram or whatever, and they will catch like
oh yeah.
they did catch stuff falling and like sounds, but sounds of like people screaming in the background, but it's just like,
That can easily be fabricated.
yes,
Just saying.
it can. Oh, it was so funny. In the comments of the YouTube video, there's this one woman. Now, obviously, this is a hospital in Johannesburg, Gauteng, which is a predominantly like English and Afrikaans speaking area. So one of the one of the EVPs they picked up, the investigators were asking questions like, "Are you still here? Is jy nog hier?
Mm.
Were you a patient?" Yeah, they said, "Was jy 'n patiënt?" And then there was a reply saying, "Ja, maar ek's nog hier." Yeah, but I'm still here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't add it in because I wasn't super convinced in it. Like, I don't.
Mhm.
That's just me. I only wanted to share the stuff that I thought was compelling.
Okay.
So somebody else agreed with me, also didn't find it compelling, but for different reasons. She said, "Sorry, guys, an Afrikaans speaking ghost gives you away."
What? Dude,
She's like, an Afrikaans speaking ghost gives you guys away. She's like, and there is real paranormal activity there. Okay, I went there and I heard like 20 babies crying, and then there was a comment. There was a comment.
excuse me, like that is the language of the area.
Yeah, if you were an Afrikaans speaking person, you died. Obviously, you'd speak Afrikaans, but obviously, a comment got a lot of flashback because why can't an Afrikaans person speak
Die.
Afrikaans? Anyway, but one of the comments on her comment was hilarious. Someone said, how do you know it was 20 babies?
It could have been the same one following her around.
What, 20 times? No.
Yeah.
No, she was one of the people who went into the baby room and heard the crying. Like, there's quite a few people that heard babies cry there. So anyway, but that is my story.
That was great. I enjoyed that.
Late my story date. But Jessie.
No, it's good. Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested to hear. You never told me what your story is about, and yours was the secret story this week. What story do you
have? So I did a haunted hotel. Okay. Yes, and I did the Victoria Hotel, which is in Pretoria. Okay. Yeah, so the Victoria Hotel was built in 1884, and it was originally called the Hollandia. I don't know if I'm saying that right, Hollandia Hotel. And, the name changed like a few times over the years until in 1901, it was eventually named the Victoria Hotel. And at the time, it was quite popular. It was one of those really well-known hotels. It had a huge dining hall. It offered 5-course meals. The tables were decorated with very expensive, what is the word, cutlery, silver cutlery and crystal glasses. Oh, wow. And it was like a really fancy, anything that you would imagine coming from a really, really good fancy hotel this place had. It was really popular. And of course, because it was such a good hotel, it attracted more and more guests, and it was doing really well. But apparently it closed its doors in 1987.
Okay.
And I could not find any particular reason why. But yes. And this was after it was doing really well. It's not like something happened and, there wasn't like a big fire or any accident or anything that, caused it to need to close for an extended period of time. It just closed. And then a year later, a man named Rohan Foss bought the building, and he spent thousands of rands restoring it. But again, I couldn't find anything to say what he was restoring it from. I don't know if anything happened, or if it was just outdated and he was trying to, liven it up and get business going again. Yeah. So it seems like he was just trying to get back into business and try to update it. But he eventually sold the building again in the early 2000s to the current owner. I cannot remember the person's name. Yeah, I lost that in my notes, so sorry about that.
I'm sure they don't mind. They probably don't listen to podcasts.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, ever since all of this happened, the Victoria Hotel, it started to lose that old world vibe that it once had, and it wasn't as popular as back in the day. And, the owners have said that they would love to restore it even more and try to get it back to what it once was. But over the years, the hotel did manage to attract a few guests who never really checked out, if you know what I'm getting at here. Yes. And of course, I'm talking about ghosts. So, an employer at the hotel, whose name is Mary, she said that they've had a number of guests stay at the hotel that have said they see a female figure on the balcony of one of the rooms. And apparently the woman just stands on the balcony and sort of overlooks the city. She doesn't really do anything particularly interesting, but of course it's quite disturbing to pay for a room that is occupied by some random person when they're not supposed to be there.
Sorry, you won't know this because you have your headphones on. The neighbor's dog keeps on barking as you talk.
Yeah, no,
okay.
I can't hear it.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, I heard just a what,
okay.
And then
no, yeah. I just wanted to let you know, not that you can actually do anything about it, but if you hear it in the recording, don't be surprised.
Yeah, no, I heard it like halfway through my sentence, and I was like, okay, whatever, let's just.
She's a not particularly interesting ghost that just sort of stands there like a weirdo. Is what you're saying? Okay. I mean,
basically, there's it is definitely. There's no one that said that she does anything to them in the room. It's not like they'll wake up and she's standing over their bed while they're sleeping or anything like that. Basically, they'll just see her on the balcony.
It's a good would you rather
that's about
game.
it.
Would you rather a ghost just stand and stare at you, or would you rather have a ghost do something in the room? What is scarier? I think the staring's creepier. Like, I'd rather see the impressions of a ghost sitting next to me or something than just actually see an apparition staring at me, not doing anything.
Of what? No, they're not. She's not staring at them. She's just looking at the city. She's looking over the balcony at all the buildings and the cars and whatever's going on down below. She's not staring at the people, as far as I know. No one has said anything like that.
Okay.
The hotel is still open as From what I can see, it's still open. I was looking online and they were talking about like current prices and stuff like that, so I'm assuming they are still open and they haven't forgotten to take down their website. But yeah, it seems like it's still open. So road trip.
You said Victoria, right? Okay, cool. So then we can go to Johannesburg, go to the Kempton Park Hospital, then we can go to Pretoria, and on the way we can go and see maybe Daisy DeMalka's ghost at the Terfte. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, let's do that.
Please continue with your story, milady.
Oh, thank you. All right, yes. So she doesn't appear to do anything other than just stand on the balcony and, check out what's going on below. But there are quite a few other happenings at this hotel. Other guests have reported that they hear voices of a man and woman running and laughing quite loudly down the corridors.
Not a boy and a girl.
And a man and a woman. No, it says man and woman, which
running and laughing down the hall.
Quite odd, but yeah. So I'm assuming it would sound like drunk laughter. Yeah, I don't know why a grown man and woman would be running and laughing down the corridor otherwise. But that's just an assumption. Some of the cleaners in the hotel, the staff, have said that they can feel a man tapping them on their shoulder before someone asks them to pass while they are cleaning the passage. But I don't think they actually see the person. So they'll feel the tap and hear someone saying like, excuse me or whatever, but I don't think there's anyone actually there.
Oh, wow.
Because no one has described what the man looks like or anything. They just say that they feel a tap and, someone asks to pass. So, yeah, I don't think there's an actual physical entity, spirit thing. So that's just creepy. And I don't feel comfortable with that.
Oh, my gosh.
But at least he's friendly enough to ask to pass through instead of just... He's a very well-mannered, creepy ghost. And the next one is... She's a little bit of a possibly sad story. And this is a woman that many guests see walking down the stairs. And some people say that she's wearing a crown, a very beautiful crown. I don't know the significance of the crown. I couldn't find anything to say if she was a person of any importance.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's dressed very well, and she's wearing this crown. And she's usually on the staircase at around 10 p.m. And the reason why I say that this is sad is because apparently there was a woman who committed suicide by jumping from the stairs at the entrance of the hotel. And it's believed that it is her ghost that the visitors are seeing. But the reason for the person's suicide and the identity of the woman and the ghost is not exactly clear. So it's just a speculation that they're related because it happened at the stairs and this woman was seen on the staircase. But I can't say 100% for sure that that is what happened. It just is the most likely explanation.
Plus, this hasn't been royalty that died there, so the crown can't be an actual crown. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's a symbolic thing for the ghost.
That's what I feel.
Am I reading too much into this? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, South Africa isn't really known for like kings and queens and princesses and things like that. So I'm seeing it as like a symbolic thing, or maybe she was just like an eccentric person who liked to wear strange items. I don't
Well,
know.
if I was a ghost,
Um,
I would have like a hella long cape and I would like float around so that my feet are off the floor, but my cape drags behind me.
I feel like I would probably be one of those really, really dramatic kind of ghosts or spirits or whatever. Like, the one thing that frustrates me the most about this kind of research is that all the ghosts do the exact same thing.
Mm.
Like, would it kill you? No pun intended. To be a little bit more unpredictable. Like,
Would it
this
kill you?
woman just chilling on the balcony. Do something else. Like, let me find you sitting on a chair or like brushing your teeth or something. I don't want to. It's so boring trying to find information, and then all of the encounters are exactly the same.
But there are different
Try to.
types of hauntings, Jessica, and I know you know this. We've spoken about it before, not on the podcast, but personally, because that's what we do. We talk about this stuff in real life. Um,
Hmm.
but this sounds like residual hauntings. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound like intelligent hauntings. So residual is sort of like it's just a repeat of one moment in time over and over and over. So it's not necessarily the spirit of the person. It's more of like the what is left of that. It's like the residual energy of a moment,
Mm.
which somehow got caught up or mixed up.
It's a
And
stain of time, a stain on time.
us, that is freaking beautiful, Jess.
Thank you. It would have been
Stain
better
on
if I
time.
didn't mess it up the first time I said it.
It would have,
Anyway,
but you did. Ordered it, and it's going to be out there in the world forever.
that's okay. Shit happens. And I'm glad you actually brought up the residual versus intelligent hauntings, because my last ghost in the story seems to be a little bit more of an intelligent kind.
Ooh,
And
okay.
the last spirit is of a little boy named Alfie,
Oh no.
who likes to irritate the kitchen staff by turning on all of the taps, banging on things, and just generally causing shenanigans in the kitchen. And apparently, he also likes to play tricks and pull pranks on the staff members and guests from time to time.
Oh wow.
So yeah, we've got different kinds of spirits here. It seems that there are some residual and intelligent hauntings going on. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't find what kinds of pranks he plays on people. That would be very interesting. Um, Imagine trying to explain how you got pranked by a ghost. But anyway,
Did you find anything on how they know it's a little boy and where is Alfie like the name they gave him, or was there like a kid who died? Like, how
I
did that boy and where does the name come from?
I couldn't find I couldn't find like how they discovered he was a little boy. I'm assuming they gave him the name, because what I did read again with the woman on the staircase is that there aren't really any records on who these people are exactly, which is something else that frustrates me about these kinds of stories, because, like, if the woman and this child were guests at the hotel, surely there should be some kind of record that these people were staying there, right? I mean, okay, it was a very long time ago, but like, you should have some kind of record. You should know if someone died at your hotel. You should know if it was a guest or if it was a staff member.
You said that it opened in 1901, right?
The hotel was built in 1884,
Mm.
and it is still open. But and again, it didn't say. I couldn't find anything to say um, when these encounters or sightings started happening. So I don't know if these spirits have been there since 1880s. or if they were like somewhere in the 1900s. I don't know that. I couldn't find that.
No, I'm just always interested to see like the relationship between time and haunting. Because if a building's around long enough, someone's going to die in it.
That's true.
It's so, I mean, 100 years is a really long time to keep record of every guest that you've ever had. I mean, does it really matter now? But at the same time, if there's like a haunting or a death, surely there would be some sort of record about it. Although I don't think people were as interested in ghosts back then as they are today. So if the hotel is as fancy as you say it was, if there were deaths, they would probably not publicize it like they would today.
That is also true.
I mean, today, videos that will be like, please give me the room that the woman was murdered in. Like,
right, I would be that person.
Back then, really? No, I wouldn't. I would maybe stay.
I would do that.
I'd maybe stay in the hotel, just not on that floor.
I would I would go to the specific room if someone was willing to stay there with me. I wouldn't do it alone. I'm okay with being on the same floor, but I don't want to be in the same room if I'm alone. If someone's with me, yeah, sure, it's fine.
No, I can't.
All right, so are we gonna we'll have to stay in different hotel rooms when we visit the Victoria Hotel.
Well, but we don't know room which death occurred on.
But you see, I'm going to go to the front and be like, where is the girl on the balcony? I want that room.
Oh, I thought she was in like the foyer or something. Does the room have a balcony?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't do it. Sorry. I'll take the room next. I'll take the room next to you, and then I'll watch from my balcony. I'll watch your balcony.
You're going to watch the ghost on my balcony?
From my balcony, yes.
Okay, all right, cool.
Because I also want a balcony.
All right. Do you know what? Okay, this is slightly a little bit off topic, but kind of not really, because I want to do this. When, I'm not going to say if, when we go to this hotel, I want to have multiple cameras set up so that I can see if anything happens. I've been wanting to do that in my room because I want to see what the cats do while I'm sleeping, but I'm also terrified I'm going to see something else because I'm certain my room is haunted as hell.
That room is haunted. We'll cover all of that in another episode, but 100% that room's haunted or possessed. I don't know if it's so much.
Can a room be possessed?
I think demons attach themselves to things as well. I don't know what do you call it. Sorry, I have a headache, so words are not with me at the moment. There's a word for it.
It's like, I don't know.
A demon?
Attachment? I don't know.
Attachment.
Oh, is that correct?
Wait, I said maybe. It sounds correct.
Anyways. Back to the original question, I'm assuming Alfie is a name that they gave him because no one knows exactly who the people are. So I don't think that's his real name, but I'm guessing he probably has appeared as a little boy, or he's probably done that like weird ghost giggle that kids do.
Ghost kids are the worst.
I know. But yeah, this employer, I forgot her name. I'm forgetting everyone's names today. Mary. Mary has said that she doesn't particularly believe in ghosts and spirits, but she doesn't, completely ignore what the guests and staff are saying. Eventually, a few specialists were called into the hotel to do some investigating, and I couldn't find exactly what year this happened, so I don't know what kind of equipment they were using. But I don't think they had like EVP equipment. I think they just had those ones with like temperature and energy sensors.
Oh, yeah.
So what they described was that these investigators went through the hotel in the dark, as they do, and they had these machines that would, I think it had either a green or a blue light that would flash when there was like when a different energy entered the room, or if there was a strange energy that was there. So they went through the hotel with the whatever equipment they had, and they were able to confirm that there were definitely a few different types of energies that were wandering through the hotel from 10 p.m., usually starting from 10 p.m., which is the same time that the woman appears on the staircase. And they concluded that what the guests were seeing were correct. The apparitions that the guests were seeing are really there. And I don't know how they came to this conclusion, but they had decided that from what they could see, the spirits are not aggressive towards the staff and guests in any way. I don't know how they would tell that. That sounds like an assumption to me, but I mean,
they're not malicious, they're just creepy.
Yeah, they just, they're just trying to play pranks on people, but whatever. So
just trying to look at the skyline.
Yeah, exactly. So some paranormal investigators were at the hotel, and there was some sort of scientific conclusion that there are spirits there, but I don't know. It didn't seem like they had very up-to-date equipment with them, so I'm assuming that investigation took place a long time ago. So I would be very interested to get some EVPs and video recordings of my haunted hotel room, but anyway. So yeah, that is it for my hotel story. There are quite a few different types of ghosts in there, which is quite refreshing for me.
And they're not babies.
Oh, thank goodness, no. One of the next things I want to do may or may not involve a baby, so look forward to that.
Noted. And I'm going to try and pick a story that doesn't trigger you.
It's okay. I'll
trigger the social worker in you.
I'll relax. If I start going on a social work thing, just go and then I'll stop.
Oh, it's cool. I'll just edit it out.
Okay. I'll just share my expertise to no one.
Jack said that we are couch psychologists.
Yeah.
It's when you have no qualification, but you'll still psychoanalyze everything.
Oh, excuse me, except I only studied and have graduated. Technically can't go to graduation because of quarantine, but hello, qualified. Jax, thank you very much. Triggered.
Wow, triggered.
Anyway.
I think that's a good marker for us to reel it in.
Yes, I agree with you. I never know how to end.
How do we end this?
Why don't we just say goodbye and then that's it?
Goodbye and then that's it.
Bye.
No. So there we go, guys. That's another episode done and dusted by yours truly, the Strange Sisters, and from me, Roxanne.
And me, Jessica. Thank you so much for coming back.
Yes, and keep safe. I know a lot of people are in quarantine and lockdown at the moment. And we look forward to seeing you guys again next week.
Yeah, and with that being said, we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye. Hello.
Hello?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You got the wrong number.
Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Can you just greet me like a normal person?
I like eggs.
You keep phoning me and telling me I have the wrong number. Stop.
Okay, so. Yes?
I had a big old bowl of stir fry.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. That is such a long pause.
I'm sorry, because you sounded like very, very happy, and then it stunned me a little. Just say before I start, and then have that, and then.
Oh, sorry, it broke up. It was really cute because it broke up and all I heard was you laughing at your joke.